Dad, I really need to talk to you about something important.
Sure. What's on your mind?
I've been trying really hard to find a job, but it's just not happening. Everywhere I apply, I either don't hear back or they tell me they've chosen someone else. It's getting really frustrating, and I'm starting to feel like I'm running out of options.
I can understand how that must be tough. Job hunting can be really challenging, especially when it feels like you're putting in a lot of effort and not seeing any results. Have you been applying to different kinds of jobs, or are you focusing on a specific type?
I've been trying to keep my options open. I've applied to a mix of jobs, some in my field of study, others that are more general. I'm not being too picky because I just want to start working and earning money. But it feels like no matter how broad I make my search, I'm still not getting anywhere.
Keeping your options open. But let me ask you, have you followed up with the places where you've applied? Sometimes, showing a bit of persistence can make a difference.
I followed up with a few of them, but most of the time, they either don't respond or give me some generic answer about how they've already filled the position. It's discouraging.
It sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things, but maybe it's time to take a step back and reevaluate your approach. Sometimes, when things aren't working out, it helps to look at what you're doing from a different angle.
What do you mean?
Well, for one, have you considered getting some feedback on your resume or cover letters? Sometimes small changes in how you present yourself on paper can make a big difference. And what about networking? Are you reaching out to people in your field or using your connections to see if there are any opportunities that might not be advertised?
I've thought about getting my resume reviewed, but I'm not sure who to ask. As for networking, I guess I haven't really done much of that. I always thought that applying directly would be more straightforward.
Getting your resume reviewed by someone with experience could be really helpful. As for networking, it's one of the most effective ways to find a job, especially in today's job market. Many positions aren't even advertised. They're filled through word of mouth or internal recommendations. You might be missing out on opportunities just because you're not connected to the right people.
I guess I've underestimated the importance of networking. It's just that I don't really know a lot of people in my field, and it feels a bit awkward reaching out to people I don't know well.
It can definitely feel awkward at first, but remember that networking doesn't have to be about asking for a job outright. It can be about building relationships, learning about different industries, and getting advice. Sometimes, just having a conversation with someone can lead to unexpected opportunities.
But even if I do all that, there's still the issue of needing money right now. I'm really starting to feel the pressure. I've got bills to pay, and I'm not sure how much longer I can keep going without a steady income.
I hear you. Money concerns can be a real source of stress, especially when you're trying to get on your feet. Have you thought about looking for temporary or part-time work to help bridge the gap while you continue your job search? It might not be exactly what you want to do long-term, but it could give you some breathing room.
I've considered it, but I'm worried that taking a part-time job might distract me from finding something more permanent. I don't want to get stuck in a job that doesn't help me advance in my career.
Sometimes taking a temporary job can actually help in your search for something better. It keeps you busy, provides some income, and can even lead to new connections or experiences that might open doors you didn't expect. Plus, it shows potential employers that you're proactive and willing to work hard.
I guess I hadn't thought of it that way. Maybe I'm just worried that taking a part-time job would feel like I'm settling or giving up on finding something better.
It's understandable to feel that way, but I think it's important to remember that this would just be a stepping stone, not the final destination. Your goal is still to find a job in your field, but in the meantime, a part-time job could provide some stability and ease some of the financial pressure you're feeling.
I see what you're saying. It's just hard to accept that things aren't going the way I planned. I thought I'd have a job by now, and it feels like I'm falling behind.
Life rarely goes exactly as planned. And that's something we all have to come to terms with at some point. But that doesn't mean you're falling behind. Everyone's path is different, and just because things are taking a bit longer doesn't mean you're not going to get where you want to be.
I know you're right. It's just tough to stay positive when it feels like nothing is going my way.
It's easy to get discouraged, but try to focus on the things you can control. You're doing your best, and that's all anyone can ask of you. Keep applying, keep networking, and don't be afraid to take on a temporary job if it helps you out in the short term.
But there's still the issue of needing money right now. I hate to ask, but do you think you could help me out until I find something?
I'm glad you felt comfortable coming to me about this. I know it's not easy to ask for help. We can certainly figure something out to help you get through this rough patch. I don't want you to feel like you're on your own in this.
I really appreciate that, Dad. I've been trying to handle everything on my own, but it's been getting harder and harder. It means a lot to know that you're willing to help.
Of course, we've all been through tough times, and it's important to have support when you need it. But let's also make a plan for how you can get back on track. Maybe we can sit down together and look at your budget, see where you might be able to cut back, and figure out how much you'll need to get by until you find a job.
I've already been trying to cut back on unnecessary expenses, but I could probably use some help with budgeting.
I'm happy to help with that. Sometimes it's easier to see where you can make changes when you have someone else to bounce ideas off of. And remember, this situation is temporary. You're doing the right things by continuing to search for a job and staying proactive.
Thanks, Dad. It's just hard to keep that perspective sometimes. I want to be independent, but right now it feels like I'm failing at that.
Needing help doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're going through a difficult time. Everyone needs help at some point in their lives, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. The important thing is that you're working towards your goals, and you'll get there.
I know you're right. I just need to keep reminding myself of that. I guess I've been so focused on trying to find a job that I haven't really taken the time to step back and look at the bigger picture.
It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day struggles, but it's important to keep the bigger picture in mind. You're still in the early stages of your career, and there's a lot of time to build the life you want. It might not happen as quickly as you'd like, but that doesn't mean it won't happen.
I think I just need to adjust my expectations and be patient with myself.
Patience is key, especially when things aren't going according to plan. But don't lose sight of your goals and keep taking steps toward them, even if they're small steps.
I will. I think talking to you about this has helped me see things more clearly. I've been so stressed about finding a job that I haven't really considered all the other things I can do to improve my situation.
I'm glad to hear that. Sometimes just talking things out can make a big difference. And remember, you're not alone in this. I'm here to support you, and so is the rest of the family. We all want to see you succeed.
That means a lot, Dad. I really appreciate your support. I think I'll start looking for some part-time work while I continue my job search. It might not be ideal, but it'll help me get by for now.
Who knows, you might end up learning something valuable from the experience. Every job, no matter how small, can teach you something useful.
You're right. I'll try to keep an open mind about it. I just want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to move forward.
I have no doubt that you are. You've always been hardworking and determined, and those qualities will serve you well in the long run. Just keep doing what you're doing, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Dad, I think I needed to hear that. It's been a tough few months, but I feel like I have a better handle on things now.
I'm glad to hear that. Tough times don't last forever, and you'll come out of this stronger and more resilient. Just keep your head up and stay focused on your goals.
I will. And thanks again for being there for me. It really helps to know that I have your support.